Tobias, how are you? Everything okay?
Everything is just great. Yeah, everything is great. I can't complain.
Your debut album, Kids in a Ghost Town, was released a year ago, almost barely a year ago. I think
Yep.
it was in October, right? Last year.
22nd of October. Yeah.
And it will be re-released this year again. Why did you decide to release it only 1 year after?
Well, the thing was that we released the first version of it on our own without a label. And then after we got so great reviews and stuff, there was a lot of interest from different labels. And one of the labels that we talked to and liked was Napalm Records. And when we started talking about signing to them, they said that then of course they have a much more distribution than we had on our own. So they said like, maybe we should go for a re-release of the album, add a couple of tracks and then release it again. And then of course, you know, use our muscles in Napalm's favor to get it out to the people. So that was the reason why we decided to do a re-release of it.
And what's the difference between this re-release and the original version?
There's 3 additional songs on this one, so 3 new songs.
And one of them is a cover and 2 others are originals, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
And did you write those 2 now between the original release and the re-release?
Yeah, we did. When we signed with Napalm, we agreed on that. So yeah, those 2 were newly written after the signing with Napalm.
And why did you choose to also include a cover, and why that song in particular?
Well, first of all, the reason, if I'm honest, that we did a cover was that we've been touring all summer and during springtime as well. So I realized quite early that it's going to be tough to write 3 new songs, and maybe not write them, but to produce them and record them. So I thought that it would be smart to do a cover. Also, as we're a 80s band, so to speak, we could benefit from having a cover that is a little bit unpredictable, you know, something that people go like, wow, that was a strange choice. So we talked about what kind of cover we wanted to do and what kind of songs, and we had some kind of parameters that we wanted to kind of fill or box. One was that we wanted a song that used to be a big hit song and a song that hasn't been covered that many times and all that. So we just ended up with Whitney Houston. She's used to be of course, a great singer and a great artist, but the song is great as well. So that was
an incredible song too.
Yeah.
And you make a very good cover on that song too.
Thank you.
And Kids in a Ghost Town, when it was released last year, it received really good reviews. Were you expecting such good reviews for an unknown band like you that have been stopped for so many times?
Yeah, no, we didn't really know what to expect, even though we all felt like that it was a great album and that we really loved it. But you never know. Now we were a bit surprised, even though, of course, it's like when you do something from your heart, it's a bit like surprising, but you kind of aimed for that. So we were surprised, but also a little bit like we knew it, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and although this is your debut album, Nestor were originally created in 1989. What have you been up to during this long time?
Well, we kind of after we started the band 1989, we kept on going for like 6 years, I think. 95 and 96, we kind of broke up the band or took a long pause. And after that, I've always been in the music industry. I've been a songwriter. I had quite a few other bands that I've been releasing albums with and touring with and stuff like that. But the other guys, they got educated. So, you know, one is a principal, one is a policeman and all that. So that's what we've been doing, you know, starting a family and stuff like that. So yeah, but all of us has always been, even the other guys has always been into music, you know, being in different cover bands or other bands and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. So it was about time to get the band together now. And we thought
Yeah, it really was. And when did you broke up in the late 90s?
The reason?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was more like you know, girlfriends and educations, and at that time a few of us were living in Gothenburg, which is the next biggest city in Sweden, and some of us wanted to move back to our hometown. It was a bit like that, so we never really broke up the band. We just said like, okay, let's you know, rent out the rehearsing space we had, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Life
and then
happened.
yeah, and then a couple of years we kind of saw each other once a year during Christmas and had some beer and played some songs, but basically, yeah.
And why did you decide to revive Nestor 30 years later?
Well, I think it was because of the pandemic. When I was sitting at home playing the piano, uh, and I just, for some reason, um, every song that I played seemed to be some song from the 80s. You know, I don't know why, but maybe was because of the pandemic. You kind of, the world was a bit shaky, and you didn't know what you didn't know what was going to happen, and it kind of, I kind of ended up playing these songs that normally was a safe space, so to speak. So yeah, and then when I did that, I started to work. You know, this was nice, and I played some, you know, ideas, and then I talked to Johnny, the guitarist, and said like, wouldn't it be cool to kind of take a time machine and go back in time till 1989 and try to make that album that we didn't have the skills or possibilities to make then and make it now when we have the studios and everything. And he was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we called the other guys up and asked them, what do you think about, you know, putting the band together and see if we can make an album? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then at that time I already had like 3 songs going, so yeah.
And so you also keep the same lineup that you had back in the 80s.
The same,
Lineup, same
yeah,
musicians.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
same lineup, same guys, everything original.
And was
Yeah,
it easy to unite all of them again?
yeah, it was actually, because we never lose contact. We always
Yeah.
been, you know, talking and stuff like that. So yeah, it wasn't hard. Everyone was like, yeah, that would be cool, even though in hindsight it's we never expected it to be this big. You know, we thought that
Mhm.
let's make an album, or not even an album. At the beginning it was like, let's make 3 songs and make a video to one of them, and maybe we can do some show, whatever, and we have a good time, drink some beer. But then quite early after we just sent out the first video, there was a lot of buzz. You know, people were like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, if I would have known what I know today, that it was going to be this big and doing like 24 shows this summer and all that, then I think it might have been a bit different when I asked the other guy, you know, guys, if they wanted to join, because then it would be like, wait a minute, how much time is this going to take? But at that time it was no problem, and it still is no problem. Everyone's super happy with where things are going.
So also all these songs that are on this record were written now.
Yeah,
You didn't have them in the 80s. You see,
no, we did.
sometimes bands like you that end up and then start again. They keep
Yeah,
songs from the 80s.
no, there was no, there are no songs. All the songs are newly written. I think the songs we wrote back in the day, they're not good enough. I'm sad to say.
But you see, they all carry that 80s spirit. Where
Yeah.
did you get that from?
Well, I think the thinking about the whole album is about those 2 years, basically, from 88 to 89, 87 to 89. And I try to just mentally go back and try to remember what I loved as a kid. And, you know, a lot of inspiration is movies from the 80s and all that stuff. So I guess it's easier to go that way than to try to be write something that happens right now, try to, you know, reflect the world as it is today. It's easier to go back and think about it and write songs about how I remember it, you know.
How was your composition process this album?
Well, I normally start with some ideas, and normally I even do a little demo of it, And then I send it out off to the guys and say like, what do you think about this? And they you know, sometimes they say like, yeah, I like that, but maybe is that part, should we change that? And but normally I'm just, this is the song basically, and me and Johnny the guitarist, he was a part of the first album, quite a big part of it, and so we did a lot of swapping files, and okay, I play this riff over that kind of chord and stuff like that, but and then in the end it's like me, I produced the first album, and so it's me sitting in the studio actually, then we
Polishing
recorded drums and
everything.
stuff like that, yeah, so I'm putting everything together, and then yeah.
Now, moving on to the lyrical aspects, you
Mhm.
said that this album talks about memories you had from the 80s.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of the songs is about that. For example, On the Run is like kind of reflecting the last, you know, the summer break when you were 15 years old, and kind of knew that, even though you didn't know it, but you kind of felt that this is probably the last summer break where I can be a kid. And next year I'm starting high school, and it's going to be a lot of responsibilities, and people kind of expect things from you, but this album is all about that last kind of summer where everything was, the world was laying at your feet, you know, you could do whatever and nothing was impossible, and everything was possible. So yeah, that is all of the lyrics, I should say, is about that basically.
And so all of those, you were basically kids in a ghost town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the album name comes from, right?
Yeah, it is. We grew up in a super small city in the southern part of Sweden, and there was not really that much to do during the weekends, so we kind of just hang out and did stupid stuff, and eventually we started to you know, set the band together, and then during the weekends we rehearsed. We were in our rehearsing space and all that. But yeah, it's just, I think everyone can relate to that, no matter what country you live in, that growing up in a small town is probably the same thing everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah, that surely is. Now, what about your vocal performance? Did you try anything different to this album?
For the next album, you think, or you mean?
No,
No?
no, to this album, to Kids in a Ghost Town.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you mean? If I tried, I mean, anything
Uh,
different?
in your vocal performance, you know, if you did anything new when you were singing, like
Yeah. No, I don't know if you mean if I compare it to other recordings I've done. You mean that?
yes, basically.
Yeah. No, I just try to make sure that I wanted it to sound like me, basically. Try to figure out what is my, you know, how would I like to sound, and is what is my expression. Uh, Sometimes before I just sang. Now it's like I focus more on getting the lyrics and the feelings across instead of singing the beautiful notes, kind of thing.
You are kind of you're kind of singing like what your 15-year-old you would have wanted.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. There's one song in there actually. There's a song called Stone Cold Eyes. I don't know if you heard it, but anyways, there's a key change in the end, and I'm really belting like a high E note on that one, and that is the reason why I sang that note, was because I thought about myself. If I would have met my 15-year-old me, and he would have listened to that song or listened to our songs, he wouldn't say, "Ah, you're a great singer and your songs are great." He would say like, "Yeah, it's okay, but can you hit the high E?" And the reason, so I had one high E, so I could say to myself, my 15-year-old self, like, "Hey, you punk! Yeah, I can listen to this." So
Yeah,
yeah, but I think my 15-year-old me would. It's that guy I'm referring to all the time. What would he love in Nestor? What would he love to see, and what would he love to, for the shows and for the songs and everything? It's like trying to see the songs out of a fanboy perspective.
mhm.
I think it's important for that is one of the biggest reasons, I think, for the success, that we always try to be fanboys, like
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think your 15-year-old you would be very proud of this album.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope so. Yeah.
Now, apart from Nestor, are you included in any other projects right now?
No, I'm not. No, it's just it takes too much time to be a part of. That Nestor takes a lot of time, and as we decided to make another album, and then we're doing quite a lot of shows this autumn as well. So I'm not involved in any other projects. I got quite a few offers, but I turned them all down so far.
Yeah, you're really focused on Nestor. And are there
Yeah,
plans?
yeah. Sorry?
Are there plans? Are there plans for a new album yet? A new studio album?
Yeah, it is. It is. I've already started writing for a new album. So yeah.
And what can you say about those songs that you wrote so far?
Well, I think we of course got a lot of questions from fans when they ask, you will stay in the 80s, right? And yeah, we will do that. This album is going to be like which was popular in the 80s as well. It's going to be a sequel to the first album. It's going to be kind of a follow-up on Kids in a Ghost Town thing.
Having the same vibe.
The same vibe, yeah. The same kind of topics, but maybe we're going to stretch it a little bit towards somewhere, but still it's like the same kind of Nestors and 80s, late 80s band. So.
And do you have approximate release date already?
Yeah, we talked about actually. Yeah, we talked about having it out by October next year. So it's going to be 2 years since we released the first album, then, and 1 year from now, basically, a little bit more than 1 year from now.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, thanks, man. No, but I think at the moment I have a great feeling for it, but then of course we're going to do a lot of shows, and you never know. Yeah.
Which are your touring plans for this re-release now?
Well, I hope that the most important thing is that we had a lot of fans throughout the whole world that said like, yeah, we love it, but we can't get the physical copy because of the distribution channels are not big enough when we did it ourselves. So my expectations, of course, is that people will be able to get the album, to get if they want a physical copy, a vinyl or a CD or a cassette or whatever, they will get it. But I also hope for a bigger audience, even though we made it quite big in Sweden and Scandinavia, and starting to take off in Germany. It would be great to. I did an interview with just before you with a guy from Brazil, and he says like, there's tons of people that likes your music here, and it would be great to go to South Africa or to South America. Yeah, so I guess I'm hoping for a bigger audience and bigger spread of the album.
Yeah, and maybe also you can do a show in Portugal. I would really like to see you live here.
Yeah. I'm not too far from you. I live in Spain actually, but I'm in the north of Spain, close to Barcelona, so it's not too far. I could actually take my car and drive to you. We actually play on Mallorca in 2 weeks' time, and now for next summer we set up we for some festivals here we might do the Barcelona Rock Fest, and there's another one down in somewhere, but still Spain. But we would love to come to Portugal as well.
I hope to see you here in my little country.
Oh,
well, I think that's it. It was an honor to this interview. Would you like to send any message to your Portuguese fans?
Well, I would like to say that thank you for all your support, first of all, and I hope that we will come to Portugal quite soon. We will definitely come to Spain, and if it's not too far from the Portuguese border, then you might be able to come to Spain. But thanks for all the support, and I'm looking forward to hear what you think about the new album. Take care and stay safe and stay metal, as I used to say.
Right.